CDC is one of the spearheading partners of the Global Polio Eradication Initiative. The unique set of skills that CDC brings is the technical component. This includes both the laboratory. CDC serves as the global reference laboratory for polio, but also the surveillance component. And I think this is the other piece that's very strong. This includes both in strengthening the quality of the surveillance and detection, but also for outbreak investigations, making sure that cases are found, that cases are detected and reported, and how to do those things through the systems that exist. So those are some of the strong efforts. So with India achieving polio-free status and then the Southeast Asia region being certified polio-free has given the world an extra sort of air into the lungs to breathe and to move this forward again. And so this has been a really strong emphasis. But the environment and the game has changed a bit. Some of the issues that are now plaguing the 3 endemic remaining countries is some issues around the quality of the campaigns that are occurring, but also some of the security and conflict issues, which brings in a new element that has not been dealt with at this level and to this degree as much as previous years. And now, with only 3 remaining countries, it has to be addressed in order to reach the final goal of eradication. So looking at here in the mid-2014 point of view, we see Afghanistan in a good position to be able to achieve the goal. But with its close connection with Pakistan, those 2 countries will have to go together in terms of being able to achieve polio-free status. So with the current ban on immunization that's occurring in North Waziristan, in Pakistan, this does stop immunization, so not being able to achieve that. We know that there are many kids that have been paralyzed, and in fact the cases have been increasing. Pakistan now accounts for 84% of the cases worldwide to date in 2014. So that, until we be able to correct that and to be able to address those issues together, that's not going to be able to be moved. But where we do see hope in 2014 is with Nigeria. Nigeria has made great progress this year, really reaching those children it has not reached before, closing the gaps, and has had much fewer cases reported this year. Being able to stop the outbreaks that are occurring in the Horn of Africa, Central Africa, and having Nigeria achieve its goal of becoming polio-free, and so to speak, sort of turning off the tap of wild polio virus to seed other outbreaks, will be a major achievement. And I think this is what we are looking for in seeing what could be accomplished in 2014, and then ongoing negotiations with Pakistan to be able to see how to address the security issue, potentially spilling into 2015.
My name is Sarah Ramsey, and I'm an emergency management specialist here at the CDC Emergency Operations Center, and I work in the operations branch. The purpose of the CDC Emergency Operations Center is to coordinate efforts towards a public health emergency response. We bring together subject matter experts from across the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to coordinate efforts towards a response. While the CDC Emergency Operations Center does respond to disease outbreaks, we also deal with other types of disasters that impact the public's health, such as man-made and natural disasters.
I'm Kara Burns, and I'm in charge of the Molecular Epidemiology and Surveillance Lab. So that's a part of the polio lab branch at CDC. And we're responsible for supporting other global polio LabNet labs around the world. It's a truly global LabNet. There's 146 labs that do the different techniques required to determine if poliovirus is circulating, and we do sequencing of the wild polios here and then share that information with the other regions so that we can figure out where polio is circulating and still paralyzing kids. This technique, the serology technique, is useful so that we can measure the immunity in different populations around the world. So for instance, in northern Nigeria, where wild polio is still spreading, we can do blood draws to see if they're protected against polio or not. And in the last couple of years, those kinds of studies have been very helpful to figure out why certain populations are still having wild polio circulating. So because polio evolves at a fairly rapid rate, the genes change over time, and so we can use that to track the polio virus from one country to another or one reservoir to another area. we can tell whether the virus is related to another virus from the same country or the neighboring country. And by doing that, we've been able to track polio, for instance, from Pakistan to China. There was an outbreak a couple years ago, and China had not had wild polio for more than 10 years. And then this virus came from Pakistan to China. And because polio evolves at this rapid rate, we were able to track it and tell where it had come from, which was a region of Pakistan that has a lot of polio, that's a known reservoir. And this requires a big network. So from the 146 labs, there's approximately 90 that are doing the real-time PCR assay. And then from that, there's a little bit over 20 that do sequencing of the poliovirus. And so they're able to amplify the genes and then sequence and then share the sequences. And CDC supports especially Nigeria, one of the endemic regions for polio, whereas the NIH Pakistan lab supports the Pakistan program, and they do the sequencing right there. And CDC has contributed by training some of the scientists and then other technical assistance. So it's really possible to track the virus around and help in figuring out where reservoirs are and where the children are being missed and where enough of them are not being immunized so that the virus is allowed to circulate. This is a shot of a vortex mixer that's mixing some of the samples that we're going to take on to the next molecular assay. And this particular mixer has been very helpful because prior to this we had a lot of contamination from bacterial and fungi, but with this mixer on the stool specimens we could get much cleaner material to put on our cells for our cell culture, which is what we test by the molecular assays. The laboratorian is preparing the samples to go in the real-time PCR machine, and this technique is used for diagnostics for many viruses such as flu virus, and it's been used in about 90 labs in the Polio Lab Network. So the Polio Global Lab Network, which is organized out of Geneva through the World Health Organization, has been in effect for 25 years this year and allow really poliovirus to be detected in any part of the world. So this Polio LabNet is a basis for lab networks for other kinds of diseases. In particular, measles and rubella have followed in the path of the polio. And so this really well-built network of 146 labs serves as a platform for other viral diseases and really can be a legacy for the future to help for other viral diseases that are hurting people all around the world.